All right, Doctor now is criminally responsible for the death of at least one person, and it's many more. But we know for a fact that this kind of birth control pill does not prevent the pregnancy. So that's the issue. The IUD and other types of hormonal birth control methods um, will inevitably lead somebody who's looking down this type of rabbit hole that I've been looking at. Um, and it keeps getting worse and worse and worse. I've been working on this for a little while, and I've discovered that there's criminal responsibility there. The culpability is directly pointing towards the fact that indictments are due. Okay, well, in the domestic courts and all that stuff. Yeah, I understand that. That's why there's another video directly addressing those facts, and you can check that out. It's called the International Tribunal video. There's an international tribunal that would be required to address the issue of this magnitude, and you can check that out on my YouTube channel if you're interested. And I would certainly hope that you do, because these domestic courts, and you're saying, the system is designed to protect, and I know that. I certainly know that. That's why the International Tribunal would be required to address this issue, and such. The issue is of such a magnitude that it will require a drastic change in moral perspective in society. But one of the beautiful things that we highlight on this channel is that this, abortion and birth control and all this stuff, it will end. It will end. But this video is highlighting how Dr. Dow is criminally responsible for the deaths of. There's at least one person, but there's it's enough to be able to and not slanderously. I'm not. There's no slanderous libel here. There's no type of slander or anything like that. This is based on truth, facts, law, and evidence. Right? Which law? Well, the law that is written in each and every one of our hearts. Thou shalt not kill. Right, thou shalt not kill, and that is the law. That is the law. You cannot make some sort of case law that's 40 pages long or even more, and expect that you can supersede thou shalt not kill. I mean, there's no way that you can override that kind of law. Thou shalt not kill. Very simple. Thou shalt not kill. I mean, that's the way it is. But they do kill, and that's why Dr. Dow is criminally responsible for the crime of murder. Absolutely. Yep. But it's more than one. All right. So every prescription represents a potential life loss. So every time that she puts her signature on that prescription pad, that is at least one. Maybe not. I mean, and it could be that the ovulation is prevented. It could be, and it could be that even though that this woman would be prescribed, this type of IUD or something like that, she would practice abstinence or something like that, or any other type of birth control method that would not cause the conception there. But the problem is that there's a conception, right? The baby is conceived. There is a baby with unique DNA, 50% of the mother and 50% from the father, and the baby is conceived, right? This unique DNA has been created, and at the implantation stage, which is just the stage of development, just the stage of development that the baby will be lost. At that time, the baby will, that's the whole point of this criminal responsibility here. The baby will be killed, right, because of these abortifacients. All right, so each time a prescription for an abortifacient drug was written, it facilitated an irreversible outcome. The sheer volume of prescriptions over decades compounds this reality. So it was there was a time when she had to physically write down the name of the drug company's code or whatever. It's a some sort of legal jargon. But now she doesn't have to. She gets a printer to do that work for her, right? So she doesn't actually have to physically write down the name of the drug, and so she gets the printer to print it out for her, and she still puts her signature with a pen and a piece of paper. So that is an element of the crime, the pen and the piece of paper. that she has printed. There's a pen there, and her signature is on that piece of paper, and then the woman will actually pay for the abortifacient drug here. The money is paid to kill their own children. I do not believe this is discussed. It certainly was not discussed in all of the cases. Maybe she discussed it behind closed doors. I don't know. Maybe they would say, look, there's a chance that it does not prevent ovulation 100% of the time and all this stuff. I don't see that conversation happening publicly. So, I talk to a lot of people and they say, I've never heard about this, but it's true. I mean, it's true. And nobody will, argue against it. The starting of a pregnancy certainly is not implantation. It's the conception where the new life and the new DNA is formed. A new baby girl or a baby boy, right, is conceived, right? So a decades-long practice means an immeasurable impact with a career spanning from the late 1980s to today. The cumulative effect of prescribing birth control in a small town setting is staggering. Even conservative estimates would suggest that a vast number of individual human lives were lost under her direct authorization. So is that important? Well, the only thing that's important, and again, right, is the criminally responsible for the death of at least one person. So it's more. In another video, I've compared to other types of serial killers, and I would to submit that. The death toll is, or the body count, if you will, is higher than other types of notorious serial killers. In that part of the world. But at least one, certainly at least one. At least one. So not just one event, but a continuous chain of loss, right? So this isn't a singular act, but an ongoing pattern, repeated thousands of times throughout her medical career. Each new prescription, each new patient adds to the toll. Yep. There is abstinence. That is an option. There is getting married and being responsible. There is not sleeping around. There is not, there are those options, right? Those options are fully available to young men and young women. Wait until you're married. Be responsible. Yeah. That is a perfectly reasonable option. Right? Or just have a family. That would be great. Families are very. I haven't seen anybody that regrets having their children, but I mean maybe maybe I don't know. I certainly don't regret my children. I love my children. Right, so a systematic and routine practice of loss. Unlike impulsive acts of harm, this was a structured, premeditated, and institutionalized process, normalized under the guise of medical care. Certainly not medical care, certainly not health care. It is death. It's certainly death. Murder. Right? Responsibility far beyond one individual decision. This isn't an issue of a single person making a personal choice. Rather, it is a physician directly enabling and facilitating a widespread and preventable tragedy. So there is, there's no need for this tragedy to occur. You can have the option to, and there are other types of birth control, methods that will prevent ovulation, including abstinence. So there, it is available. If you don't want to have a baby, do not sleep around. Number one, and do not, if you're married, practice abstinence. I mean, it's not impossible. It certainly is an option. So the number may never fully be known. The true extent of lives lost may never be fully accounted for, but the reality remains this was not an isolated incident. It was a career-long practice with irreversible consequences. The weight of this responsibility outweighs any defense, regardless of legality or social acceptance at the time, and in this part of the world, in this domestic courts and all that stuff. Sure, there is acceptance of this monstrosity. The magnitude of loss is undeniable. Even if justified under existing laws, the sheer scale demands scrutiny and accountability. Um, Very good. Let's continue on. Generations affected, communities changed. The effects of these decisions ripple through families and communities, shaping demographics, family structures, and even the survival of a cultural group over time. And we did talk about that in a previous video, but I didn't mention the fact that there was. A number of I think I did mention that there's a lot of these families. For example, I look at my graduating class, and a lot of the people that I've graduated with are childless, and their parents will never have any grandchildren at all. Right? Their family lineage is cut. The bloodline is completely, it will cease. It will end with the loss of, people my age. Right? It's why? Because of these types of the acceptance in society of such a uh, it's a crime. It's a crime. Let's just call it what it is. It's not a woman's right to kill. It certainly is not a woman's right to kill. It's nobody's right to kill. Thou shalt not kill. That is the law, and it's written in our hearts. Thou shalt not kill, right? And the need for truth and acknowledgement. The last one here. If a single lost life is tragic, and it certainly is, what does it mean when the numbers climb into the thousands? The conversation must shift from avoidance to acknowledgement of this irreversible reality. So that's really what's going on here. They're avoiding the issue. They're avoiding the issue that there is a conception here. There is a conception, and that's the thing, right? These prescriptions do not prevent the ovulation, do not prevent the conception. So there is a small boy or a small girl, and the DNA is unique. The baby is fully viable and would have otherwise grown into a full-grown man or full-grown woman, but murderess. Because of this murderess, their lives have been cut short. But they can never, never, never. They can certainly kill the baby. They can certainly kill the baby, but they can never, never, never remove the humanity of this child. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time.